If it was Sunday night, there was only one place to be. Planted on the couch, solving the latest crime with Lieutenant Kojak. We got 5 seasons and almost 120 episodes with the squad, where Kojak towed the line to get justice, but worked to never compromise his soul in the process. And deservingly, Kojak is TV Guide's 18th greatest TV character of all time.
Frankie, baby, do I have a deal for you?
Along with board games and model cars. So why did his runtime ever end? Well, it turns out there were some cases even Kojak couldn't nail down. Lucky for you, we did. And we've got some great secrets behind this formative detective drama that set the stage for more to come. What is the story behind all those lollipops? And what gruesome inspiration did Kojak take from real life? If you dig our case, please give it a thumbs up, we'll give you a lollipop, and subscribe to the channel so you can crack our next case with us. But without further ado, let's hit the streets. The Velvet Whip. The very first 1973 Kojak episode we saw wasn't actually his first case.
My name is Theo Kojak. It's interesting how matter-of-fact death can become.
Its origins can be traced back to 1963 with a brutal double homicide called the Career Girl Murders, where 2 girls in their early 20s, both from prominent New York families, were found tied up and stabbed in their apartment. The story was a media powder keg and drew hundreds of detectives who conducted thousands of interviews. At one point, the prime suspect was an African-American man named George Whitmore Jr., who was jailed for over 3 years before they actually found the real killer, Richard Robles. Not only was this terrible case highly publicized, it was very influential. For one thing, it was cited in the Supreme Court case that would establish Miranda rights. The case also prompted Academy Award-winning film writer Abby Mann to make a film inspired by it, with further reading from the book Justice in the Back Room by Selwyn Rabb. The result was the film The Marcus Nelson Murders, starring one Telly Savalas, playing a detective named Kojak. This first time spelled with a CK at the end. Smoking gun. Who loves smoking, baby? Detective Kojak did.
Am I cute? Very cute. You made the corpse look like a hero.
In the early seasons, our smooth criminal, or cop, was always lighting up. From a filming perspective, this was an easy way to give a scene movement in a cool-looking way. But on a personal level, Savalas just smoked like a chimney. Everything from cigarettes, cigars, even cigarillos. Jump to 1964, and the Surgeon General published its historic smoking and health report. And that's when smoking promos began to be weeded out. Savalas wanted to quit anyway, and he had a sweet tooth, so how can we work this out? Just switch the smoke for a lollipop. And as you know, it worked pretty well. It gave him a unique perspective, and it also gave him 3 cavities. But here was another connection to real life. Hence why Kojak says he used to smoke way too much and only had lollipops except on Sundays. The first pop appeared in episode 8, the same year the World Trade Center opened. A lot of firsts here. Their jurisdiction. Filming generally took place around New York City and usually in Manhattan. Shooting on scene made for some great bits with Kojak, lollipop and all. It was really cool seeing him around all of the Big Apple's familiar locations.
All right. Stay a mermaid.
As it was set in the 11th Precinct, Manhattan's South Patrol Borough. In actuality, the building we saw was the 9th Precinct, and it bordered Broadway. Who did the music for Kojak? Well, we've got 2 musical geniuses to thank for those smooth tunes that greeted us weeknights at 10. First was Billy Goldenberg, brought straight from the pilot film. In addition to the Kojak tune, he composed for The Mary Tyler Moore Show, Columbo, and the Elvis Presley film Change of Habit.
I get a feeling there's a message here. Like maybe there's somebody else?
After that came compositions by Kim Richmond, who had once been in the Air Force Band, and John Kakavas, who also composed for Hawaii Five-0 and BJ and the Bear. Both shows we also have great deep dives for if you want to watch those next. His musical work on Kojak helped cement his fame and made him a highly demanded TV composer. Case of the Blues. The 60s and 70s, the biggest years for Kojak, were also a crucial and messy time in American history. Law enforcement just went through a big overhaul with the Miranda rights. The Vietnam War created all sorts of tension at home, and counterculture was just starting to be the new norm. Then, in walked Theo Kojak.
I'll take a chance, come on.
But even the pilot film was wildly different from the show, making a statement about broken systems and profiling. But from episode 1 on, it would be squad humor and near vigilante heroics. Kojak was the quintessential heroic cop for Hollywood and Officers on the Streets too. It got to the point that series creator Abby Mann, who first introduced Kojak to criticize the system, complained the character was portrayed too perfect now. It said Stan the Man Lee from Marvel once claimed Kojak could probably solve the same crimes Spider-Man did, just as easily, but without the web, probably. Inspiring media. In the big family tree of crime dramas, Kojak is certainly one of the revered elders. From it, we can trace its influence down to Hill Street Blues, which let viewers bask in some squad room banter. Thanks to the groundwork Kojak laid out, Hill Street Blues could follow a successful formula and change things up, this time carrying some continuity from week to week, making it less episodic and more a long story. If you wanted a piece of the Kojak excitement outside of TV, boy did they have you covered. Kojak alone was on 4 different Joker playing cards, all with different combinations of sunglasses and lollipops. There's even the Milton Bradley board game, The Stakeout Detective. You could really get into character with themed walkie-talkies. And when the show went international, so did the merchandise, including a tiny scale model of his car, the brown Buick Regal. And if you wanted the wardrobe to match, Kojak favored the menswear brand called Botany 500, and a digital watch called the Omega Time Computer 1, which was one of the first LED watches, as Kojak is such a trendsetter. Why was Kojak canceled? Kojak hit it out of the ballpark when it premiered, and against some steep competition too. In the Nielsen ratings, it beat Mary Tyler Moore and The $6 Million Man. Its first season's ratings even tied with the Sonny and Cher Comedy Hour. Then, the last 2 seasons did take a bit of a hit. Kojak's time slot changed over the years. Starting on late Wednesday and moving earlier Sunday, it just never got the same foothold as before. Some viewers also chalk it up to being inconsistent. A script had potential only if all the players were at the top of their game. And this just wasn't always the case, of course, except for Savalas.
Will somebody talk to me?
By the 1977-78 season, its 7th place ranking plummeted to 87th. Yikes. And with these flat-out falling ratings, Universal Television decided to cut its losses and pull the plug. Kojak was canceled. 1978 was a high-casualty year for TV shows. Universal also canceled The $6 Million Man, Columbo, The Bionic Woman, Switch, Beretta, and Black Sheep Squadron. Instead, fans could catch Kojak on syndication with TV Land and now Sony's new network called Get TV. Kojak's time hitting the streets ran out, and not really in the glorious blaze we all wanted for it, but that hasn't stopped people from celebrating its wild ride and its wild history, even abroad. There was even a Hungarian spin-off, and Kojak even became slang for a bald guy or a lollipop. But I think he's remembered most as stylish and one of the most beloved cops in the entire genre, which is a pretty high bar to set. Alright, enough of me, now it's your turn. We want to know what your favorite case Kojak cracked was. Did you see the pilot movie? Has there ever been a better detective show since? Get in the comments and tell us all things Kojak. Who loves ya, baby? Who loves us, baby? Please hit the thumbs up icon if you don't mind. And subscribe to the channel for more. But from all of us here at Do You Remember, thank you for watching, and coochie coo to you too.